Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Spotlight. I'm so glad to be back. It's season 2. We're here with a brand new guest, Zach Davis, famous Madrid alumni, Iowa National Guard, engineer in Iowa National Guard, as well as podcast host of Sober Drunk Talks, which is... So Zach, I want you to kind of introduce yourself, but most importantly, tell us what are the important things that viewers know about you. Like, if you were to introduce yourself, what is the most important thing that people should know?
Okay, so my name is Zach Davis. I am a professional influencer. 100 followers on Instagram on my fitness page. I don't want to brag about anything. I love each and every one of them. But no, my name is Zach Davis. I'm not a college student. I know a lot of your episodes have college kids, but figured I'd hit them up and switch the things around, you know? And but I am in the National Guard. I've been in the Guard for about 3.5 years. Come February will be my 4th year. Oh, no.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, come February will be my 4th year. Things are moving along pretty good. I got a good reputation over there. I don't know. I'm just a good guy, and in general, I like to keep things light. So, I mean, I like to walk into a room, and I like people to kind of feel my presence. You know, I'm always smiling, so people look at me, and I just got this, like, can I cuss on here?
Yeah, I mean, if that's how you want to be represented.
Yeah, I mean, I got this shit-eating grin on my face, to say the least.
You also got the porn stash going on here, too. So.
In regulations, too. With,
there you go.
AR 670-1, the grooming status.
Yeah, you got the ruler to that thing.
Yeah, dude, I gotta sit there in the mirror for like 25 minutes and like get everything lined up.
Make sure that everything looks good. I'll also mention that we're having some camera issues, so I'm going to be doing this thing manually. So
yeah, he's gonna have to break a sweat doing this.
I was gonna say I have my arm prepared. Normally I'm fidgeting with this thing, so I got something else to play with this time.
Yep.
And we're turning. Did that just work? That is awesome. I think the auto camera.
Oh, I look good.
Just worked. Yeah, you do, bro. Nice try. Maybe it just worked, or I think maybe I accidentally hit it and it's not working. But I'll just do it manually, and then we'll figure it out from there.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not anything special. You know, I like to keep things light. I'm good. I try to be a good guy. You know.
Zach, I'd say you're special.
Yeah, I mean, don't make me blush and everything.
So on the show, bro.
I don't want to start crying.
This is going to get you all red over here. But so I guess the reason why and the thing I'm very curious about, because what I reached out to you for was, well, I mean, I first became re-aware of your presence after high school from the fitness page. Which we'll talk about a little later. But I want to get to know more about like the podcasting end, and then tell us about your podcast. Tell me about your podcast, and then we kind of had a conversation before. Before you started. But tell me how that's been and what you do and like.
I don't want a brown nose out here, but I mean, I watched. I seen you like popped up on a suggested for my Instagram, and I don't follow anybody, so like most of the people that I don't know if it's because they look at my account or what, but like they'll pop up on a suggested and have mutual followers or whatever. And so I seen yours, and I seen you had a YouTube link. I was like, what is this? I was like, because I know you made videos in high school. So I clicked on it, see if there's anything new. And then it's a podcast. And I'm like, what? So then I looked at it. I was like, oh, my goodness. This is like professionally grade like podcast stuff going on right here. And I've been really big into podcasts at the time. So I was like, dude, I'm just going to hit him up and then chop it up about podcasts, maybe start my own. I like to talk. So, I mean, everything else just kind of fell into place. You responded. Thank goodness. I know you got a lot. You're a busy man. You got a lot on your plate.
I got a lot of people trying to be on this podcast. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you inspired me to, you know, start up a podcast. I kind of had a couple questions to see before I go to Google, because I feel like dialogue is more important than talking to some AI who generates 1,000 websites.
That's going to make you pay to understand how to do a podcast for sure.
So I figured I'd hit you up about a podcast, and then I snuck in a little, hey, maybe I can get on there one time.
Yeah. And then now you're here.
Yeah, now it's real life. But
yeah,
that's kind of how that originated. And I'm Preston's one of my best friends. So I was like, dude, him and I just get on a podcast and, you know, chop it up, get things done.
I know. You guys really do talk. I mean,
I know.
The biggest thing the biggest thing when starting a podcast is you got to think about like, what can I talk about for 50 hours? Because it's like, if you really want to make a successful podcast and you really want to do something, you got to be planning for that, like episode 50, episode 100. You know what I mean? And so when you came up to me and you're like, no, I just want to shoot the shit with one of my other beefy friends, and we're just going to talk about like,
he's a little guy. Don't get it.
Sorry, Preston, you're tiny, bro. If you're listening to this. And so I'd worried that if you're gonna have someone on, if you're gonna have a podcast on, you need to be able to talk for 50 hours, and then just two guys sitting in a podcast is like every white dude's dream.
Yeah.
It's just like the thing. It's like you just have to start a pod. You get past a certain time and you're like, I have to talk. My girlfriend doesn't talk to me, so I need to like vent.
There's been
to
too many good conversations off camera that we gotta put it on camera.
Bro, I swear, like we need to start a podcast.
We need to get canceled before we're 25.
Please, speedrun, cancel speedrun 80%. And so I'd worried, but I've been listening to you guys' stuff and you guys really don't miss a beat.
No, I appreciate it. Like
there are some times where you'll have like a couple seconds where you're thinking of that thing, but you start coming up with something and that's what I appreciate about it. I mean, you just straight off the noggin just like pop out with some random shit and talk about it. And I'm like, dang, dude, I would never have thought about that. Like,
what? You guys have a freaking like $30,000 setup
for me.
And we're in here just off the dome talking right now.
Okay, that's very true. But like for me, I have an intrinsic interest in you. You know what I mean? Like that's what works.
I see what you're saying.
For 50 episodes. But you and Preston probably know a shit ton about each other. Like you guys already know, and so you're just. You're just like, so DJ Kyle, that's pretty crazy, huh?
God, dude.
Bring out the lobster.
Bring out the whole ocean. No, dude. But like, you can kind of see I didn't notice it at the time, but I kind of seen like, it's only been, it's been 4 episodes. And I've seen kind of the evolution from the first episode. It was kind of awkward. There's a lot of likes and uhs. And I told them, I was like, we're gonna tone down on that. Second episode, just take a breather, it's just us talking. And then the second episode was pretty good, or it was better. And the third episode, I really enjoyed. Like, I texted Preston afterwards. I was like, that felt really smooth and clean, and like it didn't feel awkward anymore. So that rust broke off pretty quick. And then the fourth episode with Lainey, we did set up like a baseline of kind of like stuff to talk about, considering she was a guest. Like, and I didn't know, like, I was kind of nervous because it was like the first guest, and so I just had like a baseline list of things I wanted to talk about, and I knew that. Once we got into something, it would just start rolling.
Yeah, so start rolling.
It's like bring it up. I should have just brought it up like cold turkey, like, so what about this? And then like, make her talk and then be like, okay, well, what about this?
Yeah. But, I loved seeing the dynamic with a guest on that podcast and to see like, because I've heard you guys interact, and I know how dudes talk, you know what I mean? And so like, having another person in here to just like.
Especially a woman, because like Preston, I haven't gotten any hate. A lot of people like the podcast that I've showed it to, like male and female. But I guess Preston's told me he's had a couple females like call him a womanizer and like all this other stuff. And so I was like, we're getting a woman on the fourth podcast. And he's like, that's perfect.
Your diversity hire. It's just to make sure that you you meet the requirements.
Yeah. So then I kind of finessed the system. I got a female who like kind of had the same alignment of views as we did, just to kind of finesse a little bit.
Just to figure it out.
So the women would be like, what? Yeah. Like, she's switching up. That's friendly fire. Like, saying certain things.
Like, this is your shield against any person saying that you're a part of the patriarchy or whatever it is. But no, and I thought that episode was good, and I did want to talk to you about that because especially with and this is the same thing that Tate gets flack gets flack for, and pretty much any man who's talking about men is that there's this idea of like hating women or disliking or thinking that you're better than women. And then when I listen to your podcast, I don't get that sense. But then sometimes you say things and I'm like, huh? And so I kind of want you to explain, like, talk to me about the general views on women. And then like, if this is your defense to talk about like, how you're not, you don't hate women, like, make it be that, you know what I mean? Like, walk me through some of your takes on women. And then if I called you a womanizer, what would you say?
Okay, well, first of all, if you were to call me that like 5 years ago, I'd be caught red-handed. I'd start getting red. Because like I was really mean to women, and I was mean to everybody, but I was exceptionally mean to women. And then kind of grew up a little bit. Like obviously I'm 20 now, so things kind of just changed. I got more appreciation for other people. But no, I mean, I think women are precious. Like, dude, that's like, they're like a glowing ball of just like happiness. If a woman's upset, then like the whole room is upset. Like. And if a woman's happy, everyone's happy. If a woman's out here smiling, then everyone's smiling and happy. So, but I mean, I think they're precious human beings. They need to be taken. Like I enjoy taking care of women. I don't have 20 women just waiting for me at the car. Right? Like it's not like I'm out here like Tate or
juggling.
Any of these pimps. Like I'm not a pimp. But like I do appreciate women for who they are. Like I feel like they're the lifeline to, like, if I'm having a bad day and I see a woman smiling or she calls me and she's like asking me about my day, obviously it's going to make me feel a whole lot better. Most likely, like it'll be even more better than if one of the homies calls me up and they're like, "Hey man, did you have a good day?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "All right, well, let's go to the gym, pussy." It's like, stop, bro. Like I'm genuinely having a pretty bad day. I'm gonna go to the gym, but you just like sometimes you just need somebody to comfort you and make you feel at home. And I feel like that's what women do best, or not best, but I feel like they do a really good job at that, just because they're so feminine, they're so like welcoming. And if a woman loves you, then she loves you. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's the same way as like my love for my brother is what women feel to somebody that they're not related to, or any of that good stuff. So, but yeah, I love women. I don't love 100 women.
Yeah. This isn't a confession. This is.
But yeah, so I don't know. I just can't stop thinking. I was gonna say I can't stop thinking about women. I'm just so straight.
We know, Zach.
Have you guys gotten to that? I'm straight.
I swear, guys. There's no worry. no worry.
But,
no, I'm glad that you said all that, because there was something that you said in the podcast that I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was more Preston, but no, you had said it, and I think you're right about it. I think you just said it in the wrong way.
Yeah,
because
I feel like that's what that's what happens a lot. Is people like they'll jump the gun on something that their brain just thinks and they'll just spit it out. And that's how I am most of the time. But like with sensitive topics like that, especially nowadays, like you have to be somewhat careful. But at the same time, I'm just kind of letting it hang out, and like I just like keep it light. If you have a light attitude about it and you can kind of sense a joke coming along, I mean. It's like, how can you get mad at a joke?
Yeah.
And I know you did comedy. I seen.
Yeah. Wow, thank you.
So I mean, you can say whatever you want and say, "It's just a joke."
Guys, I swear, I don't beat women. It's just one of the goofs that I do.
Part of the bit.
It's part of the bit. Yeah. So I wanted to get you on there because I mean, Andrew Tate gets a ton of flack, but then also he actually is just like a straight up pimp.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not following any of the news on that stuff, but I've heard of some pretty like not. Yeah. With women specifically. I mean, his takes are...
I really do. I'm pretty grateful for Andrew Tate because I know he's just the basic masculine man that like, I feel like everything's getting like cut down in society. People are getting men are getting more feminine. They don't want to work. They want to complain about everything. And he hits you with like if you're a man, you got to get up and work for what you want. Nothing's going to be handed to you. Yada, yada, yada. So I really like that because I'm big on like mental toughness. And so if you pair mental toughness with, physical toughness, I mean, I don't know.
You're a monster. You're a monster.
And like, I don't know, Jordan Peterson. Mm-hmm. So I got really big. Yeah, I love Jordan Peterson too. And I mean, obviously there's the infamous, like, as a man, you have to become a monster and then you have to learn how to control it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's like, I like the cold, dark stuff.
Like, I know. And it
lights a fire in me.
I know. And that's what's so good. And that's the most confusing part about people who dislike him, because it's like, let's say he's 100% wrong in everything you say. Let's say that he hates women and that he's every bad thing that you're accusing of him.
Yeah.
He's doing more good than harm.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, he could be wrong. I think where the issue comes with Andrew Tate, and the issue that I have with Andrew Tate, is that, like, what he's saying generally is correct. It just happens to be said in probably the worst way you could possibly say it. But beyond that, I think that his reasoning and, like, his morals for doing it aren't quite accurate. Like, he wants to be famous. He wants to make money off of this, and he wants to get people angry.
So, I think I agree with that. I know he's a hustler, so in order to, like, obviously everyone knows in order to get views, you have to say some outlandish stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you come in, you're all pimped out with a tattoo on your chest, you got a robe, like a $3,000 robe, and you're just like...
The ocean is behind you on your balcony.
Like, what? And then you're just saying some outlandish stuff with a machete in your hand. Like, that's going to get a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
And so what I've noticed now with Andrew Tate is... since his arrest and coming home, he's like, you could just kind of tell the whole mood has changed with him. So it's like, he's not so hardcore and like saying some outlandish things. He's been on several, not podcasts, but he's been interviewed several times by like Tucker Carlson. What was her name? Candace Owens interviewed him. And it was like super professional, almost like dad-like. Like he was mentoring instead of just like coaching, if that makes sense. Like, that's the vibe that I got from it. So Candace Owens asked him a lot about his past and the things he said, and he says like he disagrees with. I know people say things, but he says he disagrees with the way it was said and how he said it. And I know he's a father, so people, I feel like he knows that he's made it, and so now he can kind of tone everything down.
Yeah,
and he can like
chill out.
Put out a really good message, and he's already like they got the sights right on him, like they want him gone. But I think he's doing a good job. I know he's influenced my brother and I a lot. my brother and I have gotten a lot closer since he's came out and started talking about things, because him and Tristan have like that brotherly bond, and so I try to resemble that with Chase the best I can, and influence him the best I can, and go through things so that when he goes through them, it's not, he kind of sees it coming and he kind of knows what to expect. Obviously, I don't want to hold his hand through everything, because you have to go through hardships to become a big, strong man, and be mentally tough.
Gotta suck for a while.
So yeah, I mean, that's what I've gotten from Andrew Tate. He's just taught me dedication, discipline, and obviously the Army's done a big part of that too. And living on my own taught me to be pretty self-dependent. So everything just kind of hit me at the best time, and then I just kind of grew, and then I don't know. I just feel like I've improved a lot over the years, and those people are to thank for. Jordan Peterson. I love Kanye West, dude. I don't care what anyone says about Kanye.
No,
I love Kanye.
I love kids.
I'm a comedian. It's a joke.
I swear, guys. I swear. This is what we were talking about. I can say anything I want. The Kanye thing, I don't know enough about. I think
got great music.
Kanye's hilarious. First off. And I think there's a level of like hatred that like it becomes funny.
Yeah.
Like if he hates something so much that it becomes funny.
Yeah.
And then with all the anti-Semitic stuff, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's like great.
Yeah.
But what I can say though is that like the guy's mentally ill, but also so funny, and he makes pretty good music.
Yeah,
so
dude.
It's like.
I just like how outgoing he is. He's just goofy. Like, but I don't know if he's alive anymore. I don't know who that other Kanye guy is. I don't know if they killed him and cloned him or what's going on. Dude.
Who he is?
Yeah, he's walking around with a bald wife.
What is it? What else could you ask for?
Yeah, dude.
I love watching the montages of just all of the stuff that he says.
Kanye's in a warehouse.
Just
he's
being
like,
Kanye.
Yeah, no multi-billion-dollar deal has been broken over a tweet. Like
it's just him and like. Him and then Khaled are just like social experiments. I mean,
for the public.
They do things, and I'm like, someone had to have paid you to do that. Like, that's some authentic cringe.
Yeah.
I want to keep going on with some of your inspirations and the people that you've drawn. What do you think are the most valuable lessons that you've learned? Because you kind of touched on it with like discipline and working on yourself. But if you were to relay some of the things that you have taught that have helped you the most, what do you think are the important lessons that you've learned from these types of people?
So, I mean, first things first, you have to do things that you do not enjoy. So, I started my Instagram a month into doing my 4 a.m. workouts, and I did them because I was working out after work, and it's not like I was just comfortable doing that. And so I was like, I'm getting too comfortable. I don't like doing this. I got to wake up, make my bed, work out at 4 a.m. Like, I got to set a schedule almost, and it'll be very uncomfortable, and I'm not going to want to do it, but I'm going to do it. So then I started doing that, and then I just felt like I became more like awake. So like I'd wake up, make my bed, go to the gym, come home from the gym, make my post-workout meal, get my protein shake, and then go to work for 11, 12 hours a day. And like I just felt so happy to be on earth like during that time. And I was like, this is incredible. And then I started getting comfortable, not with the workouts, but with just life. And so I had to switch it up again. Like I don't like doing something for too long of a time, because I feel like I get complacent, and I don't like being complacent, because when you're complacent, you're lazy. And I don't know. I don't enjoy being lazy. Like sometimes I'll catch myself like sitting like this, and then I'll like shoot up like immediately and be like, what am I doing with my life? Yeah. Like I just rethink everything. But yeah, first things first, you have to do things that are very uncomfortable. And obviously, no, because your brain doesn't want to do that. And so if anybody was to come to me and ask me for any like tips, I would, of course, I'd mentor them. And dude, I'd even probably go to the gym with them. Like, I don't care if they're like 45 minutes away. I'll like, just to prove to them that I woke up an hour and a half earlier than you, just so I could be awake and go to the gym, and then come home and then go to work all day while you go home and you're just pondering on what you're going to do. Like, so yeah, being uncomfortable, you have to like instill this certain amount of discipline within yourself. Like, you have to learn to do that yourself if you have no other outside like influences. Like, you can look on the internet and see something motivational, but motivation is just it's gonna run out. It's the discipline that keeps you going day after day after day. And so, yeah, that's kind of my little spiel for that. Like,
and dude, that's so sick. That's so sick.
Yeah.
Because one of the first things that I learned when my dad had kind of gone through a journey of reading books and developing his mind, and the biggest thing that he took away from is comfortability is the enemy.
Yeah.
And that's the point. And I think with what you're saying with a lot of these people who are motivational, motivation generally is motivating you to seek comfort. So like the motivation is like, if you do this, you will be comfortable. But very rarely do you hear something that's like, I want to motivate you to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you can't grow while being comfortable.
Yeah.
You can't be a better version of yourself
100%.
without changing anything. And change is wildly uncomfortable.
Yep.
So I think that's such a sick
Yeah.
it's such a sick outlook on things. And I think you said it wonderfully too.
I mean,
what other lessons?
I don't know. I feel blessed because like if I was to read a book, I'm like I'm not dissecting it. I'm reading it, and like I feel like I'm ingesting this information within the book, and I'm like scrambling it around to fit my life, like, and how I can put it into my life. It's like when people read the Bible, they read something from the Bible and they're like, okay, that happened there, but I'm me. So like some people struggle with being able to put that into perspective for themselves. And I feel like I'm just, I can do that so well. Like, I've read David Goggins' his book, Can't Hurt Me. And like, I learned so much about myself through that not because of what he said, but how I translated it into my own life. And so like, I don't want to pride myself on a lot of things, but like I'm very good at taking information and then translating it to how I will live my life. And I'm pretty good at sticking to it. If you can learn how to have a baseline of discipline in your life, then you can start things up and keep them going, till the end of time. And that discipline will just keep growing and growing and growing for every new thing that you start doing. And I don't know, your self-love will go up too. Like because then you become proud of yourself, and it's just this whole thing. So
it's a snowball. I mean, it starts from
it's definitely it's a positive snowball effect.
it just starts from uncomfortability, and then it goes into,
and it's very hard. It's very hard to start.
And that's the biggest thing. And I kind of wanted to touch up on that because I've been listening to your show, and one of the things that I was wondering about you is your mental view on things is what decides your reality. And so like, I love the quote, whether or not you think you can or can't, you're probably right.
Yeah.
And it's a really good quote.
That's in my gym.
Yeah.
That's in my gym.
It's a super good quote because it's like, your view on your ability to do something is what's going to decide whether you can do it.
Yep.
And I think that's wonderful. But I think when you're in the position that you're in, and so like you're a well-built guy, but you're so toned in on like trying to improve yourself, trying to be better. And so you have this opportunity on a podcast to preach that message. Preach, girl. You have this opportunity to tell this to other people. And so I wonder, like, what's the benefit of being vulnerable? Like, what's the benefit of saying, like, I suck at this? It's hard, and I sucked, and I suck now. Even though I'm doing good, I suck now. And I don't think I hear that enough on your podcast. And I think on the podcast, what I hear a lot is how you're doing really great. And that's also motivational. And that you've made it and that you're doing great. And so I wonder if maybe people would benefit from hearing like...
The vulnerability.
Yeah, hearing like, no, I actually suck at these things. Like I fall prey to women. I fall prey to alcohol. I do these things. And you say that it's tempting, but very rarely do I hear you say like, no, I actually I fell. You know what I mean? And I think that's important to hear. So I kind of want to hear your takes on that. Like, where's that line of saying... I am good so you can overcome those obstacles, but also when you're helping other people to say like, no, I do kind of suck. Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of insecurities, but obviously subconsciously, if you were to express your vulnerabilities like that, you just become a little insecure. But like now that I think about it, if I was to do that and like people knew about the stuff that I was struggling in, that's gonna like light a fire in me to be like, okay, these people know that you're doing this, so you have to work to fix that. And so that's another thing with the fitness account on Instagram. People are seeing these 4 a.m. alarm clocks. Like, they see the time, it's 4:30. How are you going to just stop one day? And so, so I mean, it happened. Like, so that's a good point. And, but I do feel like if I was to be more vulnerable, or anybody, about the stuff that they're not good at, not to say that you just suck as a human, because then your self-worth and your mind is going to be kind of low. And if it's easy for you to kind of crawl into a ball and like tuck away in the corner, then that's going to destroy you. But like, obviously you have to have some sort of confidence when you walk into a room and all this other stuff. But it's also, like you said, it's a good point to let people know about your vulnerabilities, in the sense that I'm talking, like they know what I'm not good at. And so now I have to like, it's like a game. Like, if they see me a month later and I'm like and they notice that I'm still bad at that, then I failed. So I don't want to fail myself. Like, I'd rather die, or I'm more scared of not being successful than I am of dying. And so like that's how I think of things. And I love when people point things out. Like, I love competition or if somebody was to say, Zach, you're not like, what are you doing? This is so stupid. And it like lights a fire and I kind of snap out of it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, and kind of bite the bullet and then like tone it down a little bit just to look at the battlefield and then load up and roll out, you know?
No, and I think that's a wonderful take, and it's not to say like again that confidence is a big thing, and there's definitely a cap where if you go so hard with the confidence that you're going to get into a bad position, but obviously if you go too low in the confidence, you're going to be in a bad position too. So find that line, and one of the things that I really like what you and Preston say, or I've talked about, is not to be limited by your genetics, or not to be limited by like the natural things in you. Because like. Yeah, my Cav genetics suck.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you work past that, and you get past that. And so I really do like that you guys mentioned that. And I felt like that kind of hit on this vulnerability thing. But I wanted to, talk with you a little bit about, like, maybe exposing yourself a little bit. Just enough to where people understand that, like, you're human. Because I was listening to Goggins, you actually had me listening. I've seen his clips.
Snap. See, I'm helping one person at a time. Saying. That's all I care about.
I've seen his clips a lot. You know what I mean? Like obviously the hardcore TikToks. Yeah. But I listened to his episode on Joe Rogan because this entire show is just copying Joe Rogan.
Really good.
It was really good. And then what he said is that like he gets up and ties his shoes and he's like, I hate this. Himself. Yeah, he's like, I hate this. He's like, I don't want to do this at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind of vulnerability that I'm looking with you. And then you had said on your questionnaire that like people would say that you have like a big ego and that you have a big head and whatnot.
So I feel like I definitely used to think I was the shit, like the greatest human to ever walk the earth, and then I became very faithful with my religion, with Christianity, and I realized that I got humbled and didn't even realize it by God. Like I looked back on the things that I went through, I'm like, this happened because I was disobeying God. This happened because I was disobeying God. Like and then so I kind of put that into perspective and looked at things, and I was like, I'm not this big badass who's just the best person in every room. Like, so then I learned to kind of die that down, but at the same time work towards being level with that sense of ego, I guess. Like I worked on giving myself a reason to be confident, if that makes sense. So my confidence now it's not through the roof, but I feel like it's where it needs to be. I'm not shy. I don't talk to somebody and then look away, which is kind of funny I said that because I got glasses on, but no, like I don't know, like my confidence is at a good spot right now, and it all happened because I just had to humble myself and look at the way I used to treat people, and like I immediately felt super guilty and really bad, but yeah, so I don't even remember what you said. But
no, I was talking about just like ego, big head. You were saying that that's something that people would say about you.
Yeah, a lot of it is confidence. Like obviously, if you walk into a room, you can kind of sense who's in the room. Like, is there anybody in here who gives off that, like, I guess, aura or whatever of, like, importance? And I don't know if you've read the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
I've heard, my dad's read it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, I read that book, and what I learned about that is never outshine your master. So if you walk into a room and you're just some loud guy who's, like, acting the same in this room as you would in a room full of your friends, then you're not, like, that's not where you need to be right now. Like, either that or you need to tone it down and pay attention to how people are moving and what they're doing. So I heard the quote, if you're the smartest person in the room, find a different room or whatever.
I was just about to quote you on that because you had quoted that in an episode or something.
Yep. And but yeah, I mean, never outshine your master. You gotta just kind of get a sense for the room. And they say the loudest person in the room is the most insecure. And most of the time I'm pretty like loud and outspoken, but definitely not insecure when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I know my place when I'm in the shit, if that makes sense. I can kind of sense it in the room. You know, if there's people huddled up over here in this corner talking to this person, I'm like, okay, feel that out. I'm still gonna be smiling, walking around, talking to new people, blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's necessary to have some level of ego and confidence because that's what's gonna drive you and just help you push yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of the stuff, especially when it comes to mental illnesses and stuff, because I'm doing psychology here, because I want to like know people and understand like, why do you suck?
Yeah, that's
like,
pretty cool.
I say, why are you bad at this?
Yeah.
Because I'm bad at things too all the time, and it's like, why do I suck? Like, why do I think the way I do? And so I'm constantly trying to understand people and like talk to them, which is part of the reason why I do this show. And part of the reason why I had you on there. But what I'll notice is there's a lot of talk about like mental illness and stuff, and I think there's a line when you're diagnosing someone with like depression or anxiety to where it's like you're giving them something to rely on. Like you're giving them something to crutch on.
Yeah.
You're giving them an excuse. But then also some people just like, I mean, like literally just do not produce enough of the chemical in your brain that makes you happy. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, where's that line of like, how do I diagnose someone accurately? But how do I also like not give them a crutch? Because once you give someone something to be insecure about or that lowers their confidence, like they're just going to ride that because it's the comfortable thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell somebody who's in that state to be like, you can't be riding this anymore. Like, you got to be done.
Yeah. I like when Andrew Tate said he doesn't believe in depression. So like the way he says
which
it
again is the worst way to say that probably possible.
Exactly. And but I mean, I watch the full clips and I watch everything, and and I see like what he's talking about. If you just like rely on something to make you happy, then that's not true happiness. It's not like a true dopamine release in your brain. I had a long conversation probably about a year ago with my brother. I don't want to expose him, but
Chase again.
I believe he takes either depression or either anxiety only, or it's depression and anxiety medication. And when Tate came out, that I like was preaching like stop taking that medication and let's try something new. Like you and I are going to try something to supplement those supplements. Like like a supplement is something you add to something to make it better. And I feel like medication is something that you need to be reliable on like that. I don't really agree with that. So I wanted to look out for my brother's health, and I wanted to ask him, like, have you tried anything other than taking these meds? Like, have you done anything to try to find your own happiness or try to slow things down and look at it on a smaller scale and kind of what you can digest instead of letting it all kind of flow into you at once? And so my mom was super against that. She's like, if he doesn't take his meds, he's a dickhead, blah, 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 blah. And so I like started talking to him about respect and how you need to respect your parents. And he's like, well, you didn't respect mom a lot back, And I was like, yeah, but I mean, look at how, like, you can genuinely see how guilty I feel and how bad I feel for treating my mom like that. And I wasn't like an absolute douche, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
just to say, like, Zach loves his mom.
I was just disrespectful and like over stupid stuff, like normal high school kid kind of stuff. And like, I look back on it and I don't regret anything, but I mean, that's definitely not how you need to treat your parents. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got that instilled into his brain, like, you need to respect mom. This is like, she's worked. She's providing for you. Respect, all that good stuff. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what I talked to him about. Did it work? I mean, like, how did that journey go? To a certain extent, his confidence is definitely up now. Like and I feel like he knows he's vulnerable, and he kind of announces that to certain people, like, he's just kind of not in his shell, but only a certain amount of people know how vulnerable or how insecure he could be about some things. And what I'm trying to get him to do is kind of like, just kind of let it all hang out. Like, not in the sense of like, I'm really bad at this, because then you're just a bad person. Like, you just suck at everything. So, but yeah, I try to teach him to control his emotions, how to be stoic. Like, sometimes when I hear that word, it's so cringy.
I know.
I like to think of myself as like a stoic man.
Okay, yeah. It's hard to say.
It does sound kind of cringy.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it. And yeah, like I taught him about burning the boats, burn the ships. So when you get on land,
are you talking about surrender? So you don't surrender.
Yeah,
you have no escape.
You get there. You get there on your ships, and you're like, all right, let's burn these suckers. Yeah. You burn them, and then you go into fight, and you either live and win, or you die, and you tried.
That's so sick that you.
That's why I like going into every situation like that.
I feel like you and me are just generally on the same wavelength on things. But and I think one of the important things when you're talking about your brother, and then we were talking about like diagnoses and stuff. Mm-hmm. The thing that I'm gonna try to do is like, we got to make sure that like the core things of life are covered before we start giving you medication. Yeah. Like, you need to be healthy physically. Yep. You need to get enough sleep. Mm-hmm. You need to be eating fine. You need to drink enough water, and you need to be surrounded by decent people. Yep. Like, if you can take care of those 5 things and you are still unhappy, I will med you up. Yeah. But like, we need to take care of those things, and that's gonna be hard. But like, let's do it. Yeah. And so exactly. I think that's important too when you're talking about this medication stuff.
And I try my best to be the guy that is telling all the 5 things you just said. Like, I really want to be the guy. Like, I just want to be approachable in the sense where people can come to me and they can kind of let out their insecurities and then let me help them. Like, please, I love helping people. Like, it's the greatest thing. When you see somebody change over a certain amount of time and it's for the good, and like, you get to say you did it, but you just help that person develop a new outlook on life and start all these good habits and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's like, I just want to be the guy that you can come to. And I got open arms. Like, I know I kind of seem like kind of a dickhead, like, but I mean, I love joking. Maybe I need to dial down the joking a little bit. Like, sometimes I'm kind of harsh.
That's what makes you approachable. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what wins it over.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get people to one, admit that they need help, but then two, like ask somebody. And then two, admit that someone else is better at that than them.
Yeah.
And then three, have that conversation to like let another person be like, hey, I kind of suck at this. Like it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to admit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to do it.
What's that quote where it's what was it? A smart man learns from him. A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah, dang.
So that's how I look at a lot of things. And obviously, you know, there's people that are better than me at a lot of things. And so, like me trying to be wise, I'm watching how they conduct themselves and how they walk around and how they talk to people and how they interact with different situations and how they adapt to adversity and, you know, all that good stuff. And like I said, I try to take it in and then digest it and then translate it into my life.
Yeah, which is the best way to learn things. And there's a quote that my dad really likes to use where it's knowledge or not education, or knowledge is the enemy of education, and that like knowing something stops you from learning.
Yeah.
And learning is the most important thing.
Yeah.
But like the most important part of learning is understanding that like you need to learn something.
Yeah.
If you think you know something, you can't learn it.
Exactly.
And so like you need to accept like, hey, I do this. And so that's why I think applying it to your own life is important, because you're like, what areas of my life am I not covered right now? Like what areas of my life do I need some knowledge? And so I think it's nice that you're taking this time to understand where your shortcomings are.
Yeah, 100%.
And I just think you need to talk about it more, because I think it not that anything needs validation, but for like the general public of people who need that, it validates the things that you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you say like, hey, I struggle with this,
Yep.
like it really does help people understand. And I don't agree with that. I don't think you should need to validate the things that you've been through or the things that you do, but the general public does not feel that way.
Yeah.
Therefore, you should do it.
Yeah, I was talking to this woman yesterday, and she was talking about how like
20 or
comfortable.
20.
Yeah, 100, buddy.
Yeah. Sorry, too low.
Yeah, come on. But I was talking to her, and she was telling me about how like comfortable I make her feel. And like when we hang out, we went on like a freaking bender of just hanging out. Like, and I usually don't. I mean, I enjoy hanging out with people, but like women make you so comfortable. So when I'm like with a woman, I just feel comfortable and at home, and I just don't want to like do anything almost. And but at the same time, like they can motivate you to go do something, you know. But like obviously, you're really comfortable when you're with that woman. Like maybe you'll do things you won't do if you're with a group of guys. And so I was talking to her. I was like, she told me that I made her really comfortable, and I told her, I told her about something like it's an insecurity that comes from not being accepted. What was it? Oh, it's like the fear of making someone uncomfortable. So like I don't know, like I just try my hardest to make somebody comfortable just so they can open up. And then it goes back to the, like, I want to help you. And then, I mean, maybe I don't really push the issue too hard, but like, now that I think about it, if it was me 2 or 3, 4 years ago and someone's like, I'm trying to help you, I'd be like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
What's your problem, dude?
I'm on top of the world, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know
what's
what
wrong
you're saying.
with you?
I don't know what you're saying.
But I don't know where I was going with that, but like, if you could find somebody that can help you or potentially help you, and like, if you're looking to go out and ask somebody something, like, ask them. Because either they're just going to shut you down and then you're like, okay. And then you move on with your life and then find somebody else, or, you know, you ask them and then all of a sudden this book opens up with like all these things that you were missing out. And you're like, why didn't I think about that? So I don't know. It's just, you got to be approachable and confident at the same time. And sometimes it can be hard to juggle those things.
It's And the difficulty is where the fun is. You know what I mean? If it were easy, it wouldn't be good to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
Like,
so, and the part that it's hard, I wanted to talk a little bit about your faith and your journey through it. And I'd heard it on your podcast, but I kind of want to be involved in the conversation. So, walk me through like what your faith looks like and where that started, and then where it is now.
Yeah. So I talked about it on the podcast. I grew up in a Christian household, but it was kind of like a lukewarm Christian household. Like I think on the podcast, I was like, yeah, my mom thinks that gay people are going to heaven. I'm like, that ain't happening. And I mean, it's not like that's kind of harsh to say, like, especially if you're not talking to, like, I have gay friends or a gay friend.
Yeah.
I have a gay friend.
Yeah, so watch out, Zach.
And I've talked to him about like Christianity and faith. And I'm like, this is a layout of what's going to happen to you. And I don't want that to happen to you because I enjoy hanging out with you. I enjoy like whatever. And, but yeah, that's the household I grew up in. And I kind of grew up and I was like, yeah, I can do this. And Christ he'll forgive me at the end of the day. So I can it's like a token. I was like, I can use that one. And then I thought that I had
a jail free card.
Just handing them out. And so I was doing some outlandish things and just kind of banking on God to forgive me for everything. And then I kind of got a wake up call. It was before I was going to basic training. It was like 2 or 3 nights before. I was out at a party, and then the cops came, but they weren't busting the party up. They were looking for some runaway fugitive that they thought ran in there.
What? Dang, dude.
Everyone is like super intoxicated. And I'm like, dude, I leave for my Army training in 3 days. Like
I can't be
so
involved in this. Yeah.
And then he came up. He's like looking at everyone with the flashlight, and I was like, oh, this is it, man. And then he's like, he's not in here. And then we're like, no. And then he walked out, and I was like, what? It was like a movie. I was like, what just happened? It didn't even seem real. And then I went to basic, and I was like, I held on to that, and I was like, what happened there? Like, what was that? What saved me? And then, because nobody talked to him, he just came up and like looked at us, and then he had every right to, like, this is an MIP waiting to happen. There's beer everywhere. Like, it was bad. And so then that mixed with getting broken down at basic training while still having that thought in my mind, it made me super like emotional almost. And I was like, and then met a pastor that was in basic, that he was like one of my training guys. He was with me going through the whole thing. And he was like, we were talking about faith. So I kind of dove into it. And then I was like, that was God that saved me in that situation. And then I started looking back on every situation where he saved me. And I was like, okay, like this is too good to be true. Like this. And then I got home, did my own research, and then started surrounding myself with friends. I started preaching the word of God. And then, yeah, it just kind of took off. And then our senior year, Cooper and I, dude, we were we're asking if we're saved, and we're like dapping people up.
Yeah.
Like, you saved, brother? I'm like, yeah, I'm saved.
Dude, there was this like level of irony that I just, you had left, you just disappeared. And then you come back and you're like built, and you're like constantly posting things on your Instagram about like God, and I'm like, is this a bit?
Yeah.
Like,
are you talking about after high school or?
Yeah, during high school, like when you would come back, right when you started posting things about God, because I had known you as a goon, as a little gremlin, and then you come back,
a little light.
You come back and then you were like, praise the Lord of Jesus, and I was like, is this? Because you're a funny dude. I was like, is this a bit?
Appreciate it.
I was like, is this a bit? I was like, is this something? Like, what is going on here? And so there's this level of question. And I want to mention this real quick. We'll get back on the faith talk, but I just have to ask, is there a level of satire that you have in your weightlifting Instagram? And
are you talking like, not like a joke, but?
It's like you're doing it ironically, like you're doing it as a joke, like you're saying it this way as a joke.
Oh, yeah. No.
There's real to it, but then like there's a little bit of humor. And
no, dude, I like getting freaking dark.
The only reason why I asked that is because there's a picture on your Instagram of Spider-Man in the Venom doing this
pondering
in the rain.
He's pondering.
And I was like, there is no shot that someone used that unironically on that Instagram, on a fitness Instagram post.
Yeah, dude. Everyone uses Batman, dude. I'm freaking Tobey Maguire, Black Spider-Man, baby. Dude, I'm out there pondering,
man. There's no way. There's like, because the thing is like, you're successful in what you're trying to do, but that's cringe, dude. And it's so awesome, though.
Yeah, I thought it was like, because I seen it, my buddy sent it to a group chat, and it was like this conversation, him and this girl, and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, pondering, and then sent a picture of that. And I was like, bro, you got to send that to me. Yeah. So he sent it to me, and then I put it on my Instagram. I was like, this is perfect. This is so funny.
Yeah, it was awesome. Dude, that's so funny.
But then, like, the way I also think about it is like, Spider-Man was in a dark place. And he's just sitting there on the edge of a building, like looking down. And like at the time, I was like not in a dark place, but I was bringing my mind to a dark place so that I'd have that fire. Like I needed that fire to stay lit. So I'd put myself in all these negative situations mentally, just so that I would have that boost to just keep going. And so I'd say, yeah, you're right. It was like cringy and funny, and then at the same time, it benefited me.
I think the problem is that you have so many couch dwellers who like are like, I am literally Batman. Yeah. And then like they're saying, I am Patrick Bateman. And you just have a bunch of like fat dudes who are like, so.
Discord mods.
Yeah. I think the issue is that like, so many people have ruined that picture for you.
Yeah.
So that like if you posted it, everyone's just gonna think that you're
that makes sense, yeah.
And so when I saw that, I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I was like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I was like, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Such a funny image. Let's get back to your spiritual journey.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's so funny. Thank you for doing that for me. But with the spiritual journey, and so you came back and then you started posting all that stuff on your Instagram, and everyone was like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah.
And so, how has this helped you? Like, how has this served you in the last couple of years? I mean, how do you use this?
It's hard to kind of list everything. It's definitely gave me a very positive mindset. So, all senior year, it was like, I know I talked a lot about faith with like Cooper and then Preston and then like Jake and then Brendan Taylor. And so like those were the people that I went to talking about faith. And like, yeah, we made jokes about it sometimes, but it wasn't like, haha, like blasphemy jokes. It was like, this is awesome. Like people are watching us right now, dap up, saying praise God. And they're like, they probably think it's cringy, but at the same time, like, are they saved? And then you go up and dap them. Are you saved, brother? And then but yeah, that led me to get really big into the gym because I didn't want to be some fat, lazy guy in the army who says that he follows Christ, but he doesn't get his body right. And so started going to the gym, and then I started like thanking God for the gains that I was making. And I was like, this is amazing. And started making progress in the gym. And then I went to my second half of training for the Army. And that's where it kind of just like everything, like that's where the incline really started. Like that's where I discovered David Goggins. That's where I discovered that I loved running because it brought me peace. And like all this other stuff, like I love the Army says embrace the suck. And not a lot of people can understand that like in its entirety. But like, dude, you put me in like the worst situation, I'm thriving. Like if I got the world against me, but God with me, there's like, that's my mindset in those situations, like those underdog situations. And so, AIT just brought me a whole new outlook on life. Like, I'm not working hard enough. So when I get home, I gotta really bust ass, like, and be the man that God raised me to be. And so, it really helped me in the gym, with new friendships. I don't have any friends really on the civilian side that I hang out with and all that good stuff because all my buddies in my unit all have similar views and outlooks that I do. And so, I mean, and my other buddies just kind of stayed static while I was increasing my mental toughness and my physical toughness and my sympathy and the empathy that I have and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, it just like, he drove me to the right crowd of people. He helped me break off all these friendships in the best way. I'm just always calm. Like my resting heart rate should probably like send me to I need probably to go to a hospital and like, figure something out.
Well, you're near dead.
Because yeah, exactly. Like he helped me find peace within my mind. And so if you have a strong mind, it's very hard to act out in a way as a man that's almost feminine. You know, you get upset at everything, you throw fits about everything, and my faith has really helped me calm down and, like I said earlier, just kind of like shrink things up, kind of look at like what I can do now, like what can I control now, and then go from there. Because I mean, you can't control the uncontrollables, and you're just gonna waste your time and your energy and your whining, and so you just got to do what you can do before you try to do the impossible. Like. But I don't know. That's where my faith has kind of brought me. I love people a lot more now. I love talking to people. I love talking to people in the past, but it was probably for the wrong reasons. You know, like, hey, can you bring me some alcohol?
I was getting
now
plugs.
I just love sitting down talking to people, like, you know, just how we are. I mean, we haven't talked in forever, so to have this opportunity to sit down and talk, like I'm just happy to be here. Like I don't know.
That's so incredible, and it's hard to meet somebody. And this is my big confusion with it is hard to meet somebody who has been touched by God and Christianity, who isn't like positively affected by this.
Yeah.
And in some cases, like they would say it saved their life or like it changed everything about them. And so very rarely do I hear somebody who's been touched by this and isn't like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And so that kind of confuses me with a lot of the hatred towards the religion. And I understand the hatred if you misinterpret everything.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that. If you think that just God hates all gay people, like, that I would hate the religion too if that were true. But it's generally agreed upon that that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly.
And so and like you can misconstrue it, and I have sympathy for the people who don't understand it, but
yeah.
I'm not getting a lot of negatives from it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the rule book for life almost. I mean, like you learn all these trials and tribulations throughout the Bible, and then it all starts from having to go through the suck in the very beginning of this whole process.
Yeah.
And then so once you've kind of overcome your mind and that negative voice in your mind, and you know how to kind of control it and push it to the side, and then you open up your Bible and you start reading and you start dissecting what's in that Bible and translating it to your life. That is when like it'll be like the oh shit moment where you're like, okay, let me try this out and see how I feel after a week. And then you feel good after doing that. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, that's one good thing. Let's try something else that's, like explained in the Bible. And then once you start getting all those things kind of put into one basket and you bring it home and you set it down and you start like taking it out and looking at it, like, dude, oh man, it's getting me fired up.
Good, dude, good. And that's the
know.
point. And that's what's awesome about it. I had a conversation, one of the episodes, with a guy named Sam Carlson, who is a religious leader on campus, and we talked about it, and we actually disagreed pretty heavily, but he was such a great conversationalist about it, and he was really awesome about it.
Yeah.
Because what you were saying is my general belief with Christianity is that like you can believe everything the Bible says, but not believe that it happened. You know what I mean? You can have this thought like, here's everything that's explained in the Bible. Here's how I apply it to my life. Yeah. And here's why it's good. Like it's good that you should believe this. Like it's good that you should believe that God wiped out the entire planet in a flood because that's what happens when you continually mess up and what society. Like, that's what's going to happen.
See, that's what I'm saying.
That's it. Because what you do is you take the stories in the Bible, and then you say like, what's the purpose? Why would God want me to believe this? Yeah, like you got to think that ahead. And what you'll end up getting is if you do that with every story in the Bible, what you end up getting is here's all the good stuff from the Bible, but now I'm not burdened by this. I believe this because God says so. It's like, no, I believe this because it's good to believe. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you'll have a lot of people who are saying like, why do you believe this stuff? Or people are saying just outlandish stuff that's not even said in the Bible. Yeah. And then they're like, why do you believe that? It's like, well, because God said it. It's like, no, that's not why, that's not where your basis should be. Yeah. Your basis should be, I believe this because it's a good thing to say. Yeah, exactly. And God says to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to hear kind of what your opinions on that are.
My biggest thing is I kind of have a problem with, I don't have a problem with Christianity. I have a problem with like, the insider threats within Christianity, there's too many people who live now who are claimed to be Christian who live the same way I did back in the day, where like I can lean on God for this, like get out of jail free card, and like those are the people that are being represented, like that are representing the Christian community in a lot of cases. So it's like I've had people like talk to me and send me these clips of like pastors preaching about all these like false bad messages. And I'm like, dude, how many views does it have? It's got 1.8 million views, 600,000 likes. We need to report this video. We got to get this video out of here.
What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Dude?
So, I mean, if you have like people who are just like, misconstruing or whatever, like the word of God, you're going to have people look at that and be like, okay, if you're a Christian. And so now I am too. And I'm just going to rely on God. But when the day comes when you're judged, it's not gonna be pretty. And we just need more people who, I mean, I'm not perfect at all. Like I struggle with a lot of things as a Christian, but I also strive in a lot of things as a Christian. So, I mean, all it takes is 25 Zach Davises to kind of shed light on a couple things and like help people out, and then bounce ideas back and forth. Like, well, this is what I took from it. And then they're like, well, this is what I took from it. And then you can kind of go back and forth and then find that not true meaning, but a meaning that's worth something to you.
The purpose. Yeah. It's not just like a superficial.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like,
because God says it.
I don't know. It's a strange world we live in.
Yeah. And that's the biggest uncomfortability with me with just like the church in general. And this Christian culture, which is why I personally don't like going to churches or youth groups, because what you'll find is people who are brainwashed, but it's accidentally good brainwashing. You know what I mean? Like you're not in control. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, what you believe is good, but like you just accidentally stumbled upon that. If a bad person had told you something, you would just believe that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because they said,
that makes
you know what I
sense.
mean? It's like in the same thing that's catching up all these bad religions, or the same thing that's catching up all these bad ideas, like politically. It's like, and the people who are like worshiping like Andrew Tate or like Ben Shapiro, and they're like worshiping these people, and it's like, you're just accidentally right.
Yeah.
Like you just happen to stumble upon a person that you idolize that is preaching good things. But if you're not internalizing it and being like, okay, this is what's good, you're just a sheep. Like you're just following this.
Yeah.
And I think religion is the biggest culprit of it. And so and that's what me and Sam Carlson were talking about was like, how do we do it? And Jordan Peterson, and this is my interpretation of it. By that I mean my brother Jaden explained this to me.
Yeah.
And now I just preach it because it's a really good take. I don't even know if Jordan Peterson actually said this. I'm just like taking it and like spreading it. But just this idea that like Jesus represents perfection and who you should strive to be, knowing, and heaven describes this as well, where you should strive to be, knowing that you can never get there. Like you can never be perfect, but you should strive to be that. And as long as you strive, you will get there.
So yeah, as if like say you're like trying to increase your financials, you set this really high goal and then you might fall short, but you went farther than you would have if you would have set a mid goal.
Yeah. If you want to set a mid goal, and it's like, the thing is like sin isn't something that like you can't do. What the idea is like when you sin, you will be farther from heaven because that's just the consequence of sinning.
Yeah.
Like having a very promiscuous life, like having lots of sex, like that's going to bring you in this direction.
Yeah.
Just inevitably. Like that's just the consequences of those actions.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't have to believe that you're going to burn in hell to not sin because when you understand that like these are sins because they're bad, like gluttony, like you're going to get fat if you keep eating.
Yeah.
So stop.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, these things have purposes. You know what I mean? And I think the hardest one to understand is with like this gay marriage. And it's like, okay, if that's true, why is there no gay marriage? And what do you think? Do you have any takes on like the gay marriage?
What I have wrong or what I see wrong with it?
Why God would say don't have gay marriage? Like why would God be against that?
I've actually looked into that a lot, but what I guess what I can say right now off the dome is a male and a female reproduce and they create something beautiful, which is a child, and a man and a woman have this incredible bond and that cannot be stopped by anything. And so when God creates this man and this woman to meet each other and then get married and then have intercourse and start a family, he's like, you're just repopulate like that woman, you planted your seed in that woman and now she is giving birth to a child. And I think that's like one of the most beautiful things on earth. So, and a man can't, like, they just can't do that. And, but yeah. So I guess speaking of gays too, there is
don't point at me when you don't point at me when you say that. Speaking of gays, look at this guy.
No, but speaking of gays, the flag. Do you know the thing behind the gay flag? I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't researched it, but I've seen a video.
Okay.
So after the earth was flooded, there was a rainbow as like a peace thing, like that I won't flood the earth again. Like where it's a peacetime now. And so, but then the gays use it and they have like the extra, I think it's got like 7 stripes and the rainbow was 6. I don't remember what it was. Like I didn't research it much, but I seen that they're using that. I don't know if it's like as a taunting mechanism or what it is, but I don't know what like.
There's gotta be like a correlation.
That's what I was thinking too. And that's like, and then it got me thinking like, why does everyone hate on Christianity? Like I don't see a lot of people who are blasting Muslims or blasting all this other stuff, but I see a lot of like like hip hop, like music artists and are doing like music videos where they're hanging on a cross, like a burning cross, or like they got upside down cross tattoos and like all this other like crazy stuff. And I'm like, why is it Christianity that's being just beat up for no, like, I don't understand what it is. Like, I don't know if it's because people think that if you're a Christian, then you believe that women have no control of their bodies and gays are going to hell and like, you know, all these other like rules in the Bible. Like, I don't know if they don't agree with them. Like, but I don't know. I feel like I don't feel attacked because nobody's ever come up to me and been like, you're a racist white man who's straight and you're Christian and I'm going to kill you. Like, or say anything bad about me.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, you see it out there. There's all this like blasphemy. And I don't understand. I don't see it with like Hinduism. I don't see it with, like as much with being a Muslim and like
I would like to say Muslims get plenty hate.
That is true.
I would like to say,
Well,
like, I understand what your message is.
yeah.
But
Is it like the Muslim? Is it like Muslims get the hate, or is it like the like Arabic race or whatever? Like I don't.
It's definitely the religion.
Okay.
Mostly by Christians though, who are like justifiably being like, no, you can't.
Yeah, they've been beefing forever. Dude.
I was like, yeah, like you can't kill gay people.
Okay,
like you can't like give women no rights. Like you gotta, you know, and that's with a more. I'm not the source to be talking about.
Well, then I gotta go.
Yeah, but like in general, they get plenty hate. In what I've heard, well deserved.
But I mean, if they're hating on us so much, there's got to be a sense of like correctness to it, you know? Like maybe the devil is just, he's getting defeated right now and he's like using all these people as pawns and like trying to make Christianity look bad because he's losing. And then, but I mean, one day it's all gonna come down. And I don't believe that things get hate without a sense. I don't even know how to say it. But like, if you're hating on something a bunch, and it could come from it most likely is coming from a sense of insecurity. So I don't know. Like,
well,
I just don't get it.
What I think it is from my perspective, is that if I told you that this entire religion hates people named Zach Davis, like, and I told you that that's what it is, you'd have some beef with that religion if I told you there was a religion that hates people who have a growth mindset, like they hate this. If I told you that, you would have some beef with that.
Yeah, I'd be like,
because
what?
It's like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't get it. Because it's something that's so personal to your life. Like you've applied it to who you are as Zach Davis.
Okay.
Gay people have applied, this is who I am. Like, this is a huge part of who I am. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea to put all your pawns in something like that.
Yeah.
But when you say like this religion hates you because of that, you've attacked nothing but the person.
Yeah.
And so like the only way to get rid of that is to break that misconception.
And that's the problem, dude. Christians don't hate gay people. You're gay and you're watching this, I don't hate you.
Yeah.
I'm just not you. So I don't like men in an intimate setting. I like women. I'm a Christian man. We can be friends.
Well, yeah, because the biggest thing, and kind of what I was getting at with like, what's the purpose? Like, because you really did, like, you said what I would have said with why the Bible says no gay marriage, because in my view, it's like when men and women are genetically so different. That's just how they are, and they're supposed to be two halves of a whole. Yep. And so when you have a child as a man and woman, you raise a child as a man and woman, you're giving that child two halves of a whole to raise a whole child. Yep. When you have two men in here, you can still raise a whole child. Yeah. But like, it's just going to be harder. Like you're like I said, if heaven is the perfect thing, and then where you are, every time you sin, it goes back. Like, yes, that's going to be a sin because you're making it harder to get up to that pinnacle point is. Yeah. And that's an uncomfortable thing to say to somebody because it's like, this is who I am. Yeah. Like this is my lifeblood. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you saying that it's going to be harder for me because of this, that's stupid. It's like, well, that's how it's going to be. Yeah. And I'm sorry. That's
I'm all about the truth. If the truth sucks, then the truth it ain't changing. You can only control the controllables, baby.
Yeah. So let's say we're gonna pivot here. Let's say that you're in one of those workout TikToks, okay, and you're getting
staring at a check.
Yeah. So and they're gonna put a quote behind a video of you working out. What would you want? Like you have that like Sigma music,
like
playing.
A David Goggins style TikTok.
Like you are supposed to be talking about something. You're supposed to inspire something. I'm supposed to clip this and then put it behind a workout.
This is kind of hard because like a lot of the I don't idolize these people, but like Andrew Tate, David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Jordan Peterson, all these people have already they've set my mindset up. So if I was to say something that they've already said, I'd be relaying a message. But like I never thought about what I would say in like a Sigma TikTok. Like, that's actually a good question.
Well, because it's like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about.
I'm sure I could find something. I'd have to be in the moment, like just getting it done.
You'd have to be pumped up.
But like, it'd probably be something along the lines of like, you can't sit around and expect something to come to you. And I'm going to use something that Jay Waller said, and I think he like said this perfectly. So this is, I don't know if it's completely unrelated or not, but it kind of goes into what I was just saying about sitting around doing nothing and expecting everything. So if you grew up poor and then you got this guy who grew up rich, it's like he correlated it with a zoo. So if you were a tiger born in a zoo you're tended to and you're fed for and you're stuck in this little box for your entire life, and then the zoo shuts down and you're forced to go out into the wild, like you're not gonna. I get it. Felines have that sense of like immediately they're hunters, but what he's saying is as a human, you can't just like be thrown out into the world after being tended to and not going through any hardships and having everything handed to you, and you can't just go out there and be successful like you know everything. But then you have the poor person who like he was like the mutt of the litter, right? But he still goes out. He like adapts to his environment. Yeah, he might not be as fast or as strong as all the other cats, but he's still like he's building himself and learning a different way to do things than what the pack is doing or whatnot. So if you're just gonna sit around and be lazy and just blame stuff on everybody else and not just kind of accept it, and it'll hurt your pride for sure to just eat it. But then you just got to go out and just get it done. Nothing's going to be handed to you. And I know that's corny. Everyone says that. But like, it's not real till you make it real. And when you make it real, it's real. That's what the quote is. It's not real till you make it real. And when it's real, it's real.
And you got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for it.
But like, it's just, you decide who you're going to be at the end of the day. Like, and I guess your friends have the influence and everything on you, but what you do is what you do. And you could say you were influenced by this, but whether or not it's positive, it's on you. And that's probably what would be the caption. That whole spiel, actually.
No, that's great, dude. And I love that because accepting responsibility is probably like the foundation of what started a journey of trying to work on myself, work on my mindset, and as what has gotten me through some of the shit that I've been through.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is the mindset of like, okay, control the things that are controllable. I'm responsible for my emotions. I'm responsible for my reactions, and I'm responsible for myself on these things. And so just taking that responsibility is like the hardest thing to do, and I don't do it all the time. I blame other people for a ton of stuff.
I mean,
because it's so hard to just constantly be like, no, this is my fault, and the only way this is going to change is if I accept that it's my fault.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing I can control.
Yeah.
Is what I react to.
Yeah. So, I guess to go more off of that, like you said, you've gone through hardships, and which is good, by the way.
That's the point. It's my origin story.
Yeah. And I don't believe in villain arcs, by the way. I don't want to be a villain.
Okay.
I just want to be someone who's him.
Yeah. I want to be him.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you just need the bad things to happen. Nobody wants the bad things to happen, like I said, because your brain wants you to be comfortable. But when you put your brain in a very uncomfortable situation, and you're getting into an uncomfortable situation, okay, so you're going into that. So now you have control. You can tell your brain to just shut up. Like, it's going to happen. We're going to do it my way. Like, you don't have the wheel anymore. I grab the wheel. Like, we're going where I want to go. And once you do that, like, you have this little breakthrough, and you're like, that was pretty cool. Like, I was able to control my emotions in this situation. Like, it could be anything. Like, you get divorced, and you have to go sit down and talk to somebody. You're not, like, it's very professional if you're in there and you're calm and nobody's going to be looking at the person who's flailing their arms and they're freaking out and they're like raising their voice and they got veins coming down their neck. Like, if you just have to be calm and collect, and that's, I mean, it'll do you good in the end, I guess. But I don't know where I was going with that either. I'm just like,
hey, dude,
I'm feeling like I'm spitting.
I love that you just talk.
I'm start rapping.
I'm sweet. Yeah, like Beaster Boss.
Yeah.
Beaster Boss raps, bro.
No.
We're busting out another track. I occasionally still quote that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be like, pull up in my Rari. You already sorry I'd be taking your girl
right
from the front seat. Such a classic.
Dude,
Such a
speaking
classic.
of music, so I don't know if everyone and their grandma knows, but I got arrested last July, I think. It was July 31st, or it was like the last day of July. So this was like the worst I've been in my life to this point. So I had gotten my paperwork to go active duty Army, and a lot of things happened in this time. Like I finally, so in July, I had to wait 9 months for my last training date to be able to submit a packet to go active duty Army. So the 9 months came in July, started my paperwork. It took only a month to get every signature I needed. I needed one more signature, and it was going to get done. So this was on a Saturday. I got arrested. It was going to get done on Wednesday. And then after Wednesday, Friday, I'd be on a plane going to Hawaii on my active duty station. So I quit my job I quit it on Wednesday, so I'd have a bunch of free time over the next 2 days and then the weekend. So I quit my job, and I this is probably why I have so much respect for women now. It was with a woman, but it wasn't bad. I don't know. I went to jail for it, but it wasn't like. Just wait till I get to it.
I'm so curious, dude.
Okay, so Wednesday I quit my job. Just cold. Like I got back from the job site, told my general manager I was quitting, and he was not very happy with me. He's like, "This isn't going to be good if you put us if you put us down as a recommendation. I'm not going to say anything good about you, even though I was a freaking outstanding worker. But it was all burned to the ground when I just showed up at the end of the day, and I was like, "Yep, I'm done." So then I quit my job, plan on going active duty. Friday, I don't know what I did Friday. I probably played Xbox. Saturday, I was hanging out, and I cut ties with this girl that I was talking to because I was like, I want to go to Hawaii and just fresh start, no obligations to any women. Because then I'm going to be trying to save something back home that I can't even like feel or see or address. So I just wanted no obligations back home. I wanted to start a new life. So I cut her off, like really douchey, by the way. It was like, all right, I'm not talking to you anymore. And then just unadded and everything. It's hard. So then I texted her on Saturday. I was like, you can either take yourself off my Apple family or I'll do it for you. And she didn't respond. So then I said something, and then I got a text from a different number. Those were the only 2 times I texted her. I got a text from another number saying it was her man. And so obviously it got me a little keyed up. I was like, okay. I was like, what's going on here? And so then I started texting that guy, started running my mouth. I was not saying I was going to come up and like beat the shit out of you or kill you or anything. I wasn't saying any of that, but I was getting we were just running our mouths to each other, okay? And then the next morning I woke up and I had 3 more texts from 3 different numbers, and it was all 3 of her sisters, I guess. And so they said some things, and then I started running my mouth to all 3 of them, like all morning.
You're
from 7 a.m.
France right now.
From 7 a.m. until like noon. Like I was on my high horse. Just quit my job. I just got my paycheck on Friday. I'm going to active duty on Wednesday. I'm gonna be out of here Friday. Like I was up there right now. So I was running my mouth to everybody. And then her mom texted me, and I was like, dude, the whole family's getting it.
I was saying, why are you 1v5ing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I told the cop that, by the way. And so I was like, her mom texted me this huge book. So then I texted her back, running my mouth at lunch. Well, then at 1, I get a phone call. Talking about how I needed to go down to the police department and give them the details on what's going on. I've never been in any legal trouble. And first thing someone told me was, why didn't you get your lawyer? I don't have a lawyer. I didn't know you needed a lawyer. I just wanted to go talk to the cop.
Yeah.
So I went out and talked to the cop, and I gave him enough stuff to build a case on and he got it down as 3rd-degree assault. And I was like, what? And I didn't know I was going to jail. So they handcuffed me.
3rd-degree assault on what?
Just texting everybody and running my mouth.
This harassment?
Well, no, harassment was the charge I ended up with. So, but it didn't stick. So anyways, let me finish my story.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm sorry. You said the word assault. Where?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm at the Ankeny Police Department, and he's like, I'm gonna put you in cuffs. I'm like, so I called John. I was like, hey, you got my spare key. You guys can stay the night. You can go home. I'm going to jail. He's like, I'm gonna get you out. I was like, okay, I'm not going to jail. So I get to the jail, and they blah, 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 blah. I'm in my clothes still. I'm sitting in this holding cell thing. And then he's like, go up and talk to the guy in the cage. So I went up and talked to this guy in the cage. He's like, your bail is going to be $300. You're charged with 3rd-degree assault. And I'm like, I'm charged. And I was confused. I was like, okay, so when do I leave? And they're like, either tomorrow morning you can pay it off, or if someone gets you tonight. But it's going to be hard to get you tonight because everyone's got DUIs in the drunk tank. And I was like, what is going on right now? I've never been to jail. I don't know what's going on. So then I walk up, he makes me empty. He had all my stuff in this vacuum sealed plastic thing. It was my phone, my wallet. He's like, you can have 5 phone numbers. So I was freaking out. I was like, what? So I wrote down the 3 worst people. I didn't even write 5. I wrote 3, the worst people I could have wrote down. All 3 of them didn't answer.
You should have wrote down all 5 of the family members.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I go, he does that. I get those numbers, put them on a sticky note, put it in my pocket. I go into this locker room, change into my jumpsuit, go in front of a camera, and I'm taking mug shots, and I'm like, dude, I'm in jail. And then he's like, do you have any tattoos? I was like, yeah. So then he's like, hold it up. So I held up my tattoo. He took a picture of it, and I could not believe it. And then I get put in this jail cell, and I go over, and there's 50, or not 50. There's probably upwards of 20 guys, and they're all it was the worst place I've ever been. And I was like, bro, what is going on right now? It's he's like, they're like, are you gonna call anybody? And I was like, what do I need to call him for? To come get you out. And I was so dumbfounded. I didn't know what was going on. So then I went to the phone, called my mom. My mom said, I'm not coming to pick you up. You need to learn your lesson. I was like, Mom, don't be like this right now. Send me Grandpa's number. I'll explain everything. She's like, 3rd-degree assault, Zach? Are you serious? I'm like, oh, I was so mad. And So then she sent me my grandpa's number. I didn't write it down on the sticky note. So I licked my thumb, swiped it on the ink on the wall, and then I wrote like his number down on the wall and then called it. And I feel really bad for my grandpa because my dad and my uncle went to jail a lot when they were growing up. And so that's not the first time my grandpa's got that call. And I can't imagine how he felt having it all come back to him with his grandson that he thought was going to be like the prodigy child. You know? So I felt super bad. I was like tearing up, crying. I'm like, Grandpa, I'll explain it all to you. If you just come pick me up, please, I'll pay you back, blah, blah, blah. Because they wouldn't let me bail myself out. So he got there. I didn't get out till 10. I went to jail at like 2. So I was in there for 8 hours. I'm very thankful I got out then. But yeah, I went home, dealt with like this whole lawyer situation. Like I was going to take the guilty plea because I didn't want to, like I just, what's the thing? It was like, you can either fight from it or run or whatever, or the fight or flight. Yeah. So I had that fight or flight hit and it was immediate flight. I was like, I'll take the guilty charge. Yeah, they're going to delay my active duty stuff, but whatever. And, but then I started talking to my recruiter. She's like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. You're not pleading guilty to this. I'm going to go with you to the court and we're going to plead not guilty. And I was like, okay, whatever. And she like, I'm so thankful for her because she like held my hand through this process. She's like, you show up on the time that they gave you. So I showed up, pled not guilty. They, whatever. I talked to my lawyer. He only charged me $1,000 and got it dismissed. But in that time, I found out that my unit was deploying to the Middle East. And I'm like, I don't even want to go active anymore. And I got to find a job. I was like, dude, this is bad.
What?
Yeah. So it was like a bunch of like mixed emotions and like, it was like one of the toughest times of my life because it was like so many ups and downs. And like, it was so many times that I was just like crying at night. I'm like, why did I get myself into this situation? Like, all because I texted somebody something when I could have, like, all I had to do was just leave it be and just remove her myself. Like, why? But yeah, it was a huge learning process for me. And so, like I said earlier, like that's most likely where my appreciation for like, not just females, but people come from. Like, I don't run my mouth anymore like that. And it was a huge wake up call. And so I can't believe you didn't know about that?
I know that is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it got dismissed. It got dismissed. I'm clean slate, baby.
Like, and it cost $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I haven't heard from her.
Because you had to like 1v10, like her and all her like goon family members.
We set it up to be a jury trial. And so she'd have to go there and there'd be all this evidence and all the text messages. And the prosecuting attorney ended up just dismissing it and letting it go. And I was like very thankful, but at the same time, I got a new job and I worked that, and then it was a mess. Where did that even come from? By the way,
I don't even know. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
because
it was just.
Well, first off, when people are telling me it's accusational stories, like he said, she said stuff. My base assumption is like at least some of what each side is saying is true, because like. There's no way you just get accused of third-degree assault. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it got bumped down to a third-degree harassment.
Yeah, harassment I can understand, but assault is like, what are you even talking about? You know, and that's why I was asking questions, because I was like, where did assault even like enter this space?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. I was dumbfounded. I was like, what?
That's insane, bro. And what sucks is that like her running her mouth or like getting her family, like that ratchet type, like conversation.
And she was a good girl too. Like I don't.
That's insane too.
Yeah, like she's no different than like a woman that I would still talk to. Like I would like I still want to resemble her, I guess, with a woman that I'd want to talk to. Like that's who she's like. The clean cut version of a woman that I want in my life.
Dude, you must have said some like gnarly things in that, dude. I just can't imagine.
I probably still have the text.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I would love the receipts on that.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine what you could have possibly said that gets you in prison, that gets you like it gets 5 people running to her defense. Yeah. Hell yeah, that's a learning process.
Yeah.
Oh,
it stemmed off the music. So then, I got back and I felt like God was very disappointed in me. So I started making like not gospel music, but you know Kanye's album, the Jesus is King album, how he was like trap beats, but with like Christian lyrics and like Christian themed music. Started making Christian themed music. And
you have Christian themed music out?
Yeah, not out, but I got it in the vault.
Yeah, I got it waiting for the
But I didn't get anybody to engineer it, and I didn't want to put anything out unless it was perfect because people were like kind of dragging me through the mud, like having that dirt on me, you know? Like, I mean, I don't blame them. I went to jail and like people who who knew me in high school and they see that like 2 years later.
So many assumptions,
Dude, and it's like, this guy didn't change at all. I knew he was going to go to jail. And I was so I felt so bad. Like but I wasn't even there. Like, you know, I was like, I had a really good head on me and I was ready to like get her done. And so I was disappointed in myself. So then that's where I started, like, once again, like, that was my little downfall. And that's exactly what I needed. I was uncomfortable as hell. And then it just like,
yeah, well,
I just used all that anger and anxiety and not depression, but like the fact that I was just so upset about that just drove me nuts. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. So
would you say that was your fault? Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
I take 100% of the blame for that.
And that's good because that's where that origin story comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what makes it like
Yeah.
something that you can actually work with is when you say like, yeah, that was my fault. Like,
yeah, I like taking the blame for a lot of things. Like if I know that I'm in the wrong, I'm not gonna hide it. Like I'll say, yeah, I was wrong. And I feel like that's where you gain a lot of respect too. If you could admit to the things that you've done wrong, and they'll respect you. Plus, if you've admitted it or admitted what you've done wrong and aim to improve it and like make actions towards not making the same mistake twice, which is what I love living by that. Because if I make the same mistake twice, which happens, I just like, but the second time I make the same mistake, it's like I beat myself up and then I'm back in the gym even harder, or I'm doing something crazy with my life, you know, like doing something I did not want to do. But since I messed up twice, I had to punish myself for lying to myself, you know? So that's kind of where my mindset is.
That's nuts. And that's unbelievable. I don't even know I didn't know how to respond to that because my biggest thing is like, my first response to that is like, surround yourself with better people. Yeah. Be attracted to better women.
That's what I'm saying.
But like, if you're saying like, no, this is the kind of person
she was very good. Like she was so good to me. Like she'd make we'd have sleepovers and she'd make my bed before, and I'd go to work at 6 a.m. I'd come home to my bed being made. The room was clean. Like the apartment was clean. Everything was nice.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, it was wild, dude. She met my parents. My parents loved her. It was insane. And
you should reach out to her again.
No, hell no. I got a better thing.
Yeah, so work on. We gotta work. You gotta come back a new man before you can.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like, what's that Abe Lincoln quote? Whereas if you give me 7 hours to chop down a tree, I'm spending the first 6 sharpening my axe. Like that's what I focused on since coming back, since my first day out.
This is your first day, and you're going back again.
No, I'm not going back to jail.
No, not to jail. You're leaving, deploying. In September.
And that's man, dude. And like I'm so excited. Like I could not be more excited. But the problem is like the podcast. What's gonna happen with the podcast? And I'm gonna try to get Preston to like continue it. I'm gonna give him like the stuff that I have.
Legacy.
Yeah, and have him just kind of continue it as best as he can. Plus like the relationship. Like I've met a lot of new people lately, and it's a shame that I don't get to be in their life for the next year or 9 months to a year. You know, it'd be nice to like have some sort of influence on them, as opposed like instead of just being over the phone. You know?
Yeah.
Like I was talking with my buddy. I live with one of the guys in my unit, and I was telling him, I'm like, I just realized that when I text over the phone, people might not see it the same way, or they might think it's kind of weird or like odd, not off-putting, but it's just like it's almost different. They probably think I'm an idiot. but then you hear me talk, and it's like you could put the tone of my voice to my text now, and you can understand like how like my tone is. So like whenever my brother told me that whenever I say text buddy, he's like I can hear like the hard B on that, like buddy, like And so like. And I think it's what gets people so attracted to me, like male and female, like they just want to be around me, is because like once you meet me, I sound like I'm like stroking my ego right now. But like, I don't know, because that's what I aim for. I aim to be someone who's approachable and comfortable to be around, and you know that I'll have your back, I'll defend you no matter what. And then like put that into the text messages, and like you kind of see how lively my texts are after you meet me, and it's like, I don't know.
I can hear your voice through the text.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
And I pride myself on that. So,
is there any way you guys can just Zoom call for your podcast, or
we could make that happen?
That's gonna be uncomfortable if you want to talk about making it work.
Yeah,
you're gonna be a grown ass man sitting in front of a computer like this.
Yeah, double bind up, baby.
Double bind up, and you're just sitting there like. So Preston, how you doing?
Yeah, the whole time.
Double flexing the entire time. It's like, Preston, look at this, bro.
Hey, Preston, how many pull-ups you do today?
Yeah. So it's not the same. I mean, I hope to see it continue, and I'm really curious. But it's just a year, bro. You're gonna be working on yourself for the next 80 years.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
And so like it's not gonna be the biggest thing, and Preston might be a much better person and you're going to be a much better person by the time you come back. And so, I mean, it's going to come back swinging, dude. And that's how it is. And I'm going to get you both on the podcast when you come back too. So we'll have the Sober Drunk Talks reunion.
Sober Drunk Talks, X Spotlight, baby.
Yeah, X Spotlight with Spotlight. So it's about 8:00, and that's when they kick us out. So what are your kind of final thoughts on this? And then if there's any plugging you want to do, anything about yourself or any final messages, this is kind of your opportunity to.
So first, I want to thank you for having me on here. This is freaking lit. I love this. Second, I'm very impressed with the way this is all set up.
Yeah, this is nuts. This is none of my doing.
And I guess another thing I'd like to kind of just put out, like, if you're seeing this and we haven't talked in a while, just reach out to me. Like, I leave in the middle of September for a very long time. Or not very long, but in the moment, it's a very long time. So, but yeah, if you're seeing this and we haven't talked in a while, you want to catch up, just send me a DM or a text on zdavis.fitness. That's my Instagram. I don't remember my main Instagram's login. Yeah. So don't DM me on there. But yeah, so I got my Instagram. I'm not going to put my number on here. But nor my Snapchat. I don't really care about that. Yeah, just if you haven't done something today that made you uncomfortable, it's 8:00, or I guess it's not 8:00 when this is right. But whatever time of the day it is, just do something that you don't feel comfortable doing, or at least give it a little trial run, and see what you can find out about yourself, and see if you can learn anything new about yourself. And I guess that's about it. If you have any questions about anything, just freaking hit me up, dude. Like, I'm trying to talk to as many people as I can before I leave to hold on to those moments that I had, and have new topics for the podcast, Maybe even have new guests. Yeah. Who knows?
Zach, this was a truly incredible episode, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for kicking off season 2. I could not think of a better way to get myself and others hyped for this next next journey. I'm excited to talk to you when you get back.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
It was awesome having you on, dude. It was awesome having you on.
I'm filled with joy right now, so I appreciate you for doing that.
Good.